Welcome to Wilsons Creek National Battlefield, a unit of the National Park Service. My name is Sarah Cunningham, Superintendent of Wilsons Creek National Battlefield, and it is my absolute privilege and honor to be with you on this very special occasion. As you can see, this ceremony is not in a courthouse, but in a national park. And the national park sites are dedicated to protecting and sharing places which reflect the values and ideals of this nation. Some sites have breathtaking natural wonders, and others reflect the historical events of the past. All reflect who we are as a nation today. During the American Civil War, nearly 161 years ago, on August 10, 1861, Union and Confederate forces clashed here on these grounds. The United States Army, led by Brigadier General Nathaniel Lyon, attacked Brigadier General Benjamin McCullough's Confederate forces and Major General Sterling Price's Missouri State Guard along Wilsons Creek. The battle ended after 6 hours of intense fighting, and the Union forces retreated to Springfield. This costly Southern victory gave control of Southwest Missouri to the Confederacy and focused national attention on the war in Missouri. The human toll was great. Combined, over 2,500 soldiers were killed, wounded, or missing. Wilsons Creek was the second major battle of the Civil War and the first major battle fought west of the Mississippi River. Here at Wilsons Creek and throughout the Civil War, immigrants influenced battles and outcomes. In 1860, about 13% of the U.S. population was born overseas. Historians believe that approximately 25% of U.S. soldiers were immigrants during the war. That's roughly over 500,000. It's also estimated that another 18% had at least one parent who immigrated to the United States. Together, immigrants and the sons of immigrants made up about 43% of the federal forces. In comparison, only about 5% of the Confederate Army. As an example, over 200,000 German-born men fought for the United States during the war, including Colonel Franz Sigel, who was at Wilsons Creek. He left Germany and became an educator and administrator at the German-American Institute in St. Louis. At the outbreak of the Civil War, Sigel enlisted for the United States Army. His popularity with immigrants, especially German Americans, abounded, and he not only recruited, but commanded many German volunteers. Many immigrants voluntarily sacrificed for their new home in ways beyond what might be expected of strangers in an unfamiliar nation. And I imagine each of you have also made sacrifices as your journey led you to this moment. We often say that national parks are America's best idea, but so too is the idea of choosing to be an American citizen. Each one of you envisioned this day, and rather than seeing it merely as a dream, you made it your reality. Today, we are gathered here with 61 candidates who are completing their journey to citizenship in the United States. Looking out into the crowd, I see smiling faces of the candidates, their friends and family, and all of those of you who have come to help us celebrate this final step in your journey. And each one of you has a unique story which led you here. Now, in honor of our newest citizens, Wilsons Creek National Battlefield will be free for all visitors today. The weather hasn't been overly cooperative, but I invite you to take some time to explore the park, the trails, and the exhibits, as well as learn about the battle and some of the immigrants who played a role in it. Congratulations to you and your families. Courtroom Deputy, to officially open this court's special session. All rise. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. The United States District Court for the Western District of Missouri is now in session. The Honorable M. Douglas Harpool presiding. God save the United States of America and this honorable court.
If you would remain standing, for the presentation of the colors and the singing of the national anthem.
Pull! What's the colors? Precinct, horse!
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous sky, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Order! Horse! Hey.
You may be seated. I want to thank the Wilson Creek National Battlefield Volunteers for presentation of the colors, and Beth Jones from the McCarthy School District for leading us in the national anthem. My name is Doug Harpool. I am the federal district judge at Chambers here in Southwest Missouri, one of 6 district judges that handle cases in the Western District of Missouri. This is an official court session. But we're not going to follow all the rules of decorum that I would in my courtroom. It's okay to smile. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to clap, as you think appropriate. But while this is an official court session, it is also a celebration. We celebrate an expansion of our population. We celebrate bringing new talent and energy to our country, and we bring 61 new citizens and all of their energy, all of their talent to meld with ours. And we're so happy you're here. And I want you to know I'm privileged to have the opportunity to administer the oath to you today, which we'll do in a few minutes. The issue of immigration has been controversial in this country in recent years. But all that controversy can be set aside today, because you all have gone through great lengths to earn your citizenship. And you should be proud of yourselves for that effort and for that accomplishment. As someone who was born here in Springfield, in fact, I've toured this park as a young child, and my family still comes out here and we tour the park. We too often take for granted the privileges of being a citizen in this country. We too often forget how blessed we are to live in a country controlled by the rule of law, and that's something to a judge is very important. That we follow the law here because it is the law, and because we respect each other, and that's a real privilege. And we have lots of economic opportunity in this country, and I hope that those of us who are already citizens who are here to celebrate with you will use this occasion to remind us of just how privileged our citizenship is and how important it is for us to exercise the obligations of citizenship. And we'll talk a little bit more about those perhaps later. I did want to point out that today is Cinco de Mayo. And, but we're going to leave that celebration for later. We have with us some very distinguished speakers. First, I want to introduce our primary guest speaker. His name is Tim Garrison. Tim is a military veteran. He served as the U.S. Attorney for recent years in this district. He's not any longer. He's returned to private practice now. He handled cases in my court in front of me and also in Kansas City, but was the head U.S. Attorney for a few years as appointed by the President. And Mr. Garrison has been asked by the battlefield to come and share a few of his thoughts about U.S. citizenship. So, Mr. Garrison?
Well, thank you, Your Honor. And Judge Harpool wasn't joking when he said it's a little different today than it normally is in his courtroom. He said it's okay to smile. It's a little different appearing today as a lawyer in this courtroom. I'm relieved to not be concerned that I may have missed a filing deadline or forgotten to mark an exhibit. It's great to be with you in these circumstances. And I am profoundly grateful and honored to be able to be with you today and be among the first to greet you as my fellow Americans. This is a true privilege for me to appear before you this morning. Welcome to your country. This setting here at this national battlefield, in my mind, creates an interesting juxtaposition of putting together of two things that might seem strange. It is a solemn place where we memorialize a battle that was fought as part of a war that was fought to preserve our nation. But juxtaposed to that, as Judge Harpool mentioned, is a celebration of you, our newest American citizens. Most Americans either are immigrants themselves or are descended from immigrants. It has frequently and rightly been said that the United States is a nation of immigrants. It's certainly true of my family. I'm a natural-born citizen, but my ancestors immigrated to the United States from Europe hundreds of years ago. But my daughter is a naturalized citizen, having been born in India and then naturalized as a citizen of the United States. With a group this large from over 30 different countries, I'm told, 30 different countries of origin, there are surely many different reasons that you have come to America. Some of you may have come for opportunity to pursue a career or an education or some other dream that was unattainable from whence you came. Some of you have come seeking freedom to practice your faith without fear of persecution, or to live according to the dictates of your own conscience. And if you know the history of the United States, you know that is a distinctly American reason to come here. Some of you may have come for love, to marry that young American boy or American girl and make this your home. That's a good reason to come. Some of you may have come out of a sense of adventure, and I think that's great. You follow in a long line of adventurous souls who have left the known and the familiar to board a leaky boat and cross an ocean to come here. And just as 12 million immigrants have come from across the ocean to New York Harbor under the torch of the Statue of Liberty, you come in that line of brave people. But whatever your reason for coming to America, I am glad you're here, and I'm proud to call you my countrymen. And you've come to America the right way. You have submitted to our laws. Many of you have waited a long time, some of you many years. Many of you have sacrificed and gone to great expense to come here. You've passed that civics exam. I know a lot of natural-born Americans are very relieved they don't have to pass that civics exam. And so I know that you appreciate the significance of this occasion. I want to talk for just a minute about why I, as a natural-born citizen, appreciate the significance of this occasion today. I'm a child of the 1980s, and so President Ronald Reagan plays an outsized role in the development of my awareness as a citizen, my consciousness as a citizen. On the last day of President Reagan's presidency, however, he gave a speech at the White House in which he included an anecdote that I think is very appropriate for today's special occasion. He read from a letter that he had received from a man who wrote, "You can go to live in France, but you cannot become a Frenchman. You can go to live in Germany or Turkey or Japan and not become a German, a Turk, or Japanese. But anyone from any corner of the globe can come to live in America and be an American." That's because the United States was the first country not founded on geography or an ethnicity, but on an idea, spelled out in our Declaration of Independence, that we are all created equal and are endowed by God with certain inalienable rights. That is, rights that no person, no government has the authority to take away. I'm not suggesting that America is or has ever been a perfect country. That revolutionary idea that I just mentioned, that's spelled out in the Declaration of Independence, that all people are equal and therefore equally entitled to life, to liberty, to pursue their own happiness, that was not true in this country when it was written. But it was our conscience, and it's always been our aspiration. And Americans have worked and struggled and fought and bled to make it true. We fought for it against a global empire nearly 250 years ago to establish this nation. We fought a civil war amongst ourselves, one battle 160 years ago on these very grounds, to secure that idea for enslaved people from whom that idea had been unjustly denied. We fought for others' freedom on foreign battlefields. I'm taking my first trip to France later this year, and I look forward to paying my respects to over 9,000 American soldiers who died and are buried on Normandy Beach. And as an officer in the United States Armed Forces, I've read the oath that you're about to take, and I'm moved by your willingness to take an oath to bear arms in support of our nation if need be. I pray that day never comes and you never have to make good on that oath, but I salute your willingness to take that oath. Historians and political scientists have noted that since 1789, the historical life expectancy of a nation's constitution is about 19 years. In other words, in less than 2 decades, the average nation scraps its constitution and starts over. But what is significant about the year 1789? 1789 is the year that the United States Constitution, the oldest existing codified constitution, became effective. And the Constitution of the United States is significant in history because it represented a reversal in the direction rights and authority flowed between citizens and their government. There have been other written and unwritten constitutions and other recognitions of the rights of subjects and citizens. But throughout most of history and throughout most nations, those were declarations of the rights given by the king or the queen or the government to their subjects. In America's Constitution, that direction is reversed. Our Constitution says that we the people, grant our consent to be governed and give the government only those defined and limited powers set forth in the Constitution. And we retain those rights and powers not delegated to the Constitution, to the states, and to ourselves. That organic commitment to limited government and freedom, set forth so clearly in our Declaration of Independence and in our Constitution, has created the freest, most widely prosperous nation in the history of the earth, and has provided more opportunity to more people than any other. You can tell a lot about a country by whether people are trying to leave or trying to get into that country. And from its founding, the United States has always been a country where people are trying to come here. And now you have come here. America is a blessed nation. And now you are part of that nation. In 1790, when America was a newborn country, the Hebrew congregation of Newport, Rhode Island, wrote a letter to our first president, George Washington. That congregation of a religious and ethnic minority had written a letter to the new president to offer their congratulations and support, but also for assurance that their rights would be recognized and protected by this new government, by this new constitution. President Washington wrote back to them in a letter in which he wrote, and I quote, "The citizens of the United States of America have a right to applaud themselves for having given to mankind examples of an enlarged and liberal policy, a policy worthy of imitation. All possess alike liberty of conscience and immunities of citizenship. It is now no more that toleration is spoken of as if it was by the indulgence of one class of people that another enjoyed the exercise of their inherent natural rights. For happily the government of the United States, which gives to bigotry no sanction, to persecution no assistance, requires only that they who live under its protection should demean themselves as good citizens, in giving it on all occasions their effectual support." So in conclusion, I note that that is still all America needs from us, her citizens, today, to demean ourselves as good citizens. So when we conclude here, go from this ceremony and pursue happiness as good American citizens. America wants you. America needs you. We need your vigor. We need your skills and abilities. We need your ambitions and your work. We need your taxes. We need your ideas and new ways of thinking. We need your art, your food, and your music. We want your traditions, your culture, and your heritage. You diversify and strengthen and enrich our nation, and your fellow citizens are grateful. I am grateful that you are here, that you are Americans. So today I give you my welcome, my affection as my fellow countrymen, and my congratulations on officially becoming an American. God has truly blessed me here, and I pray that He also blesses you, and that through you, God will continue to bless America. Thank you.
As Mr. Garrison said, this country is a country founded on laws, and it's an experiment in democracy. A proof that people can run their own government. And that requires participation in government. That requires you to pay attention to issues. It requires, I should say, us now, not just you. It requires us to vote. It requires us to contribute what talents and abilities we may have and our opinions. The road from democracy to where we are now hadn't been perfect. The country's made some mistakes along the way. We started with a burden of slavery hanging around our neck, and it took a civil war to rid us of that. And it was still hundreds of years before we were able to pass the Civil Rights Act. But we're getting better. That's the goal. And so we need you to help us get better. And bring your perspective from your country and from your education and your family, and participate and get involved in your government, and share your opinions with your elected representatives. That's a real difference here is you can say what you want to your elected representatives as long as you don't threaten them. You can threaten not to vote for them. And we're pleased to have with us several entities and groups that want to express their welcome to you as citizens. I'm not going to get up in between every one of these speakers because not necessary, and it takes too much time. So what we're going to do is I'm going to tell you who all is going to speak, and then one finishes, the next is going to get up and speak to you. But we have Nicholas Inman, who's the secretary for the Wilsons Creek National Battlefield Foundation. Nate Dunville, who's president of the Springfield Metropolitan Bar Association. Before being a judge, I was a member of that association for many years. I technically still am a member. And he's the president, that's the local lawyers of Springfield in the area. Then Sonia Anderson is going to appear in behalf of Senator Roy Blunt. And I think Miriam Ball is here too, but she's not going to speak, right? Right. But she's here on behalf of Senator Blunt too. Senator Blunt is a long-time standing public official for Greene County. He started as our county clerk, and then was our state secretary of state, then a congressman, and he's been a U.S. senator. But he's announced he's not running for re-election, so he is entitled to thanks for a long career of public service. The next is Aaron Engelmeyer, who is currently on the staff of Senator Josh Hawley, who's our junior senator and will soon be our senior senator for the state of Missouri. And then last you'll hear from, but by no means least, is our congressman, Billy Long, who himself is the person present. And I told him before, I've done these for 8 years. I've done these ceremonies, several a year. And he's the only elected official that personally has been able to find time to attend. And so we're very glad that he personally was able to be here today. And he'll follow Ms. Engelmeyer in her presentation. Mr. Inman?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning. It's an honor to stand before you on a day that is so special and historic in your lives. And today I stand before you as a representative of the Wilsons Creek National Battlefield Foundation, which was established in 1950 and today is one of the oldest private sector support groups in the National Park Service. We do hope that you'll enjoy your visit to the park today, and I want to share with you just briefly some of the actions and items that the Wilsons Creek Foundation has worked on. Today, as you visit in the Visitor Center, we helped conduct the campaign to raise funds for the recent renovation of the Visitor Center, and we know that you'll enjoy visiting there. We host many events that we hope that you will come back to the park to enjoy, including our Luminary Driving Tour and the Moonlight Tour, which is always a very popular item. We've added to the park's permanent collection many of those items you will see today, and most recently, one of those acquisitions has been the 1860 .44 caliber Henry rifle, and are working on a few items from another collection that are going to really be a great addition to our park. We've also worked on the battlefield land expansion and land acquisition, and today you will see the fruits of many of that labors of the partnering organizations that we've worked with to increase the size of the battlefield, much of the original land that the battlefield encompassed. It is an honor today to welcome you as the newest citizens of our country, and I know my colleagues from the foundation join me in wishing you well as you go forth to live the American dream. Congratulations to you today.
Thank you, Nicholas. Welcome, everybody. A hearty congratulations to you all. My name is Nate Dunville. I am a lawyer here in Springfield, and I'm the president of the Springfield Metropolitan Bar Association. As Judge Harpool said, we are a professional association of judges and lawyers. We are not an association of bars, just to make sure everybody is on the same page there. But like I said, we are an association of lawyers and judges, mostly in Springfield, but across the state, who band together to help our profession and to help our community and to help interpret, enforce, and uphold the laws, to help act as intermediaries between citizens and the courts, and to help assist people with their legal needs. It's something that we all take very seriously, and it's something that is a constant process of improvement. Our legal system, while it's not perfect, I have a strong belief that it is by far the best in the world, in part because of the effort that we put in to be constantly improving it. Briefly, I want to mention, for reasons that aren't really relevant to this, I grew up not really knowing my biological father's family, and recently I had a phone call from a stranger who purported to be my uncle who lives in California. He said that he had seen me on the internet and wanted to reach out to me, and give me a glimpse at some of my family heritage. This is an odd phone call to receive, needless to say, but after a long talk, it was clear that he was telling the truth, and several days later I received a package in the mail. And in that package was a number of records and documents relating to my family history, and among them was something that is now one of my most prized possessions. This is the certificate that was the decree that was entered by the court when my great-great-grandfather became a citizen of this nation in 1886. Still in the original ratty frame from back then, but clearly it was so important to my family at the time that they knew that they wanted to preserve it for generations to come and to hand it down just as they would hand down the benefits and the privileges of citizenship. And I bring this out today because I want to encourage all of you to preserve this memory and to hand this down to your children just like you will hand down the benefits and the privileges of your citizenship. I know that many of you have already been our neighbors, our colleagues, our friends for many years, but on behalf of the Springfield Metropolitan Bar Association, it's my very privilege and honor to welcome you as our fellow citizens. Thank you all.
Good afternoon. I'm Sonia Anderson. I'm the District Director for U.S. Senator Roy Blunt. I know he would love to be here today, but he is in session today in D.C. working on behalf of the Missouri people. So I am honored to bring a personal greeting on his behalf. Dear naturalized citizen of the United States of America, please accept my warmest congratulations on your naturalization as a United States citizen. Your determination, desire, and success in this great achievement is highly respected and applauded. As you are aware, the freedoms we share in this country are not to be found elsewhere in the world. To maintain these freedoms, we must exercise the responsibilities that are incumbent with these liberties. As the English philosopher John Stuart Mill said, the worth of a state in the long run is the worth of the individuals composing it. I am confident that you will serve your new country well. Let me also extend my best wishes for success, happiness, and prosperity in your future endeavors. Please do not hesitate to contact either myself or in my office if we can be of assistance. Sincere regards, U.S. Senator Roy Blunt.
And I'm Erin Engelmeyer with Senator Josh Hawley, and he too is on the D.C. on the Senate floor this week, and so sends his best. To my fellow American, it gives me great pleasure to congratulate you on completing the process of becoming a naturalized citizen of the United States of America. American citizenship is more than about passing a test. It is a commitment to our ideals and a promise to strengthen our shared way of life. It's about joining a family. Today, you join more than 300 million Americans who compose the greatest nation the world has ever seen. The Constitution is a revolutionary document. It established a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. It guarantees our right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Since our nation's inception, each generation of Americans has fought fearlessly and at great sacrifice to preserve those rights for all citizens. Today, you swore, or you will swear, an oath to do the same, so that future generations might enjoy these same freedoms. It is our duty as Americans to pass on to the next generation an equally fearless commitment to our founding convictions, and I encourage you to cherish these privileges, responsibilities, and liberties, and to remember your oath each day. Although I cannot attend your ceremony in person, please know that my family and I are thinking of you and your new journey in life as a fellow American. I am very proud to serve the state of Missouri and to serve each of you. U.S. Senator Josh Hawley. Thank you very much.
I'm Congressman Billy Long, and I'll tell you right now that I'm probably the worst politician ever, because I don't do politics, but I think I'm a pretty decent congressman, and we have had a lot of constituent service with folks we've been able to help over the years. And one thing you'll notice about me is I talk from the heart. I've got a couple of little things written down here, but I don't speak from notes because every time I get up and talk, I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know exactly what I'm going to say. So first thing I want to tell you, we went to Kansas City yesterday. No, we went to St. Joe. Jeremy out here, my guy out there with the camera, we went up to St. Joe 4 hours up there in a driving rainstorm. And we drive back after our meeting in a driving rainstorm. And he's like, oh, that naturalization ceremony, I hope it's not under the tent tomorrow. I said, Jeremy, it's not going to rain. It's not going to rain. He said, no, it's going to rain for 3 or 4 days, they said. But I was an auctioneer and a real estate broker for 31 years before I ever went to Congress. And when I opened every auction, I did it the same way. I said, it never rains on a Billy Long auction. Now, so I told Jeremy, I said, it's not going to rain today, but I didn't tell him that there was a chance of liquid sunshine. So I'm glad the liquid sunshine held off for today. And I want you to know, I want you all to be proud of yourselves, which I imagine you are. I know your family, somebody's calling me. Turn that off. Spam risk, they call every day. But anyway, I know your families are proud of you, but I'm proud of you. You got a United States Congressman standing here that's very, very proud of what you've done and what you've gone through, and I want to thank you for that. I also want you to know that if this was like a normal day, I didn't look at my total options, but I probably had about 42 places I could be today. But it's important for me to be here with you. That's the way a congressman is, a senator, whatever. I mean, all of us are scheduled to pack. Everybody wants you, when you're home, they want you at their event, but I'm here today for you all. This morning this is the National Prayer Day, National Day of Prayer, if you knew that or not. But we had our National Prayer Breakfast today in Springfield. Some of you might have been out there at that. But you had an option to be there, and you had an option, freedom of religion, which is part of what maybe you came to this country for. And we celebrate that in this country, and also freedom of speech. So I know there's many, as Judge Garrison said, I'm sure there's many reasons for you to be here today, but I got to thinking about that as I was sitting here about National Day of Prayer, and you can, worship whichever God, whichever religion that you want to in the United States of America. I heard Tim Garrison say that there was 30-some countries, Tim, is that right? 30-some countries here. Now, I don't know that you're all on my tie, but this is a lot of different countries, and now people see this, they say, oh, that's Feed the Children, that's Feed the Children. No, it's not Feed the Children, it's St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. And I always wear that tie at the State of the Union. I sit on the aisle, and but St. Jude's near and dear to my heart. Our daughter, 25 years old, was stricken with cancer, and now she's 33 years old. And she was too old to go to St. Jude, but the protocol was developed down there. But that's the kind of ingenuity and things that are available in this country. They're not available in a lot of other countries. And I also like to bring out my buddy Ray Yep. Ray Yep, he worked for David Leong when he first came to town at Leong's restaurant. You ever eaten there was their cashew chicken? David wanted to invent cashew chicken. But Ray, at 51 or so years old, found out he was not a citizen of this country. His dad had lied to him for all those years because he said, you were born here, you were born here, you were born here. So he thought he was a citizen of this country, and he wasn't. But instead of just going on and gaming the system and playing along, he did what you all did. He said, I want to go through a naturalization ceremony. I want to be a naturalized citizen of this country. And that always meant so much to me to think that my buddy Ray Yep would take that step like you all take it here today. And I like to tease people. I like to pick on people, I guess you'd say. And someone was complaining to our youngest daughter one day, said, your dad's picking on me all the time. And she looked at him and said, he only picks on people he really, really likes. So that made him feel better. So when I saw Tim Garrison today, I'm always picking on Tim. I'm always like, talking about his speeches and things. But we are so fortunate to have had Tim Garrison here today. Because we do a lot of events together, but whatever he speaks from the heart. He's like me. He could have been probably 20 places today, but he chose to be here for you all. And then Judge Harpool, this is the finest. I mean, the sun was out for a second a while ago. I heard birds chirping out here. So this is the best courtroom that I've ever been in. So I just want to, and Tim was talking about going to France, which will be exciting, first time my wife and I went to Luxembourg a few years ago, a couple years ago, 3, 4, I don't know what it was, and they took us to the Luxembourg American Cemetery. Kind of like Arlington. I mean, all these headstones for as far as you can see. And they gave us all a rose. And they said, you can put this on any gravestone that you want. And they showed us the Missouri soldiers, different ones, introduced us to their life story and stuff. But I went over and put my rose on George Patton's grave, because when he had an automobile accident and it was obvious he wasn't going to recover, and he told his wife, she said, honey, where do you want to be buried? You want to go to Arlington? Where do you want to go? He said, no, I want to be buried at Luxembourg because I want to be with my men. And that meant a lot to me, and I'm sure you'll see stuff like that in France too. But anyway, just an honor to be here, and very, very, very proud of all of you, and proud of your families. And anyway, God bless you all, and thank you, and welcome to America.
All right, now, to be clear, as soon as you guys take the oath of office, you're Congressman Long's boss.
Oh, I got to go.
And also the boss of your senators and all of your elected officials. And that's what's special about this country. But you know, you gotta give them direction. You gotta tell them what you want to do and when you want to do it. And if they don't do what you want, you have a right to vote the way you want to vote. And that's what makes this country special. But it requires participation. And in the courts, we're interested in participation on a different level. We've joked a little bit about a serious courtroom, and certainly not a pretty environment like this. But you also have the right to be on a jury and to make decisions in disputes between individuals. They go to court, and you sit on the jury, and you resolve that dispute. Not just a judge, but the jury. And we also, in criminal cases, I told you Mr. Garrison used to prosecute criminal cases. A jury has to find someone guilty unanimously and beyond a reasonable doubt. And in this country, you can't be arrested without a warrant being issued. Judges like me issue those warrants when we think it's appropriate. And your house can't be searched by the government or police without probable cause or a warrant by a judge. And those are just some of the rights that you'll have as a citizen that we think are so special that we need to protect and preserve. And we need your involvement to do so. Now, let's get to the business at hand. There are 61 applicants that I think has been said. 31 different countries. Someone calculated, I assure you it was not me, that if you add up where all of your countries are from, to Springfield, Missouri, you've traveled 340,000 miles. It's an average of 5,500 miles each. For those who are not excellent at the planets and the size of the Earth, I'm told that you can circle the globe 14 times if you go 340,000 miles. So that tells you how far you all have come to this place together for this very important moment. In the end, the judges get involved and give you the oath. But during the process, of course, you have worked with the United States Citizenship and Immigration Service. And to recognize each of our applicants, we're privileged to have with us Kathleen Schley, of the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. And I'm now going to turn the program over to her while she makes the introduction of our esteemed applicants.
May it please the court, Your Honor.
Proceed.
This morning, I'd like to introduce 61 applicants for United States citizenship. These applicants come from 31 different countries. They have met the formal requirements imposed by law for United States citizenship. Upon taking the oath of allegiance, each will have the rights, the privileges, and the responsibilities of United States citizenship. As I call the country from which you come, please stand and be recognized. Brazil. Burma. Canada. China. Colombia. Congo. Cuba. Dominican Republic. Germany. Guatemala. India. Iran. Jamaica. Jordan. Kazakhstan. Kenya. Mexico. Nepal. Nicaragua. Pakistan. Philippines. Rwanda. Russia. Syria. Tanzania. Ukraine. Venezuela. Vietnam. And last but not least, the Virgin Islands. At this time, the government moves that the oath of allegiance be administered to the prospective citizens of the United States, and that all petitions for change of name be granted.
Upon receiving the motion of the government and consideration of the certification that each of the applicants has met the requirements for citizenship in the United States, it is now my privilege to administer the oath to each of you. Would each of the applicants please stand and raise your right hand and repeat after me? I hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state or sovereignty, of whom or which I have heretofore been a subject or citizen, that I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by the law, that I will perform non-combatant service in the armed forces of the United States when required by law, that I will perform work of national importance under civil direction when required by the law, and that I take this obligation freely without mental reservation or purpose of evasion. So help me God. You're a United States citizen. Congratulations. I'm so happy that you finished this journey and are joining us now. Let's make the first thing we do. If everybody could stand with me, let's say the Pledge of Allegiance, if we would. Let's do this all together, because now we're all part of one. We're one big melting pot. So let's all say it together. Ready? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you would be seated, Beth Jones from the Carthage School District is going to sing America the Beautiful.
So beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of rain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
All right, I've just got a few announcements, and then we'll complete our court session. This will be the least traumatic court session any of you will ever participate in. I do want to mention one thing. It's Cinco de Mayo, which is a special day. It's your Naturalization Day. It's a special day there. But there's one of our applicants, I understand, that has a birthday today. Elizabeth. Happy birthday, Elizabeth. Hey, look, I'm going to ask Ms. Jones for a little extra work here, and we're all going to sing happy birthday to you. Okay?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Elizabeth. Happy birthday to you.
birthday presents today and every birthday, but I bet none has the impact on our life as this one has. All right. I want to thank the Park Superintendent Sarah Cunningham and the National Park Service for letting us use this beautiful facility. You know, in many, many jurisdictions in our country, all these naturalizations occur in courtrooms. And they're really pretty much come in, get certified, say the oath, and you go. And I just don't think that is worthy of your accomplishment. And so we're always excited when we have here, we do them here, we've done some at George Washington Carver National Park. If you haven't been there, you ought to go there too. And we try to pick different places. We do some at the universities here. But without their help, that wouldn't be possible. Also with the park, historian Connie Langham, acting Chief Ranger Matt Fry have been assistants, as have the volunteers and the members of the Wilsons Creek National Battlefield Foundation. They make this possible for us. I want to thank my court staff for their work, Steve Birch and Linda and Janine and Karen and my marshals who are here, believe it or not, protecting us all. I want to thank them for their extra, because it's extra work for them to come here and have this here, and I'm glad they do that. I want to thank the Immigration Service. You know, we don't have an office here in Springfield for the Immigration Service. That might get changed someday, but right now they have to come all the way from Kansas City to participate for this, and it's extra work for them too, and I'm always appreciative of them coming down and doing that. Now, there'll be a reception in the visitor center. So if you hang around and greet each other and greet others that are here, that I'll be in the reception center too. Occasionally, for reasons that I don't understand, and I guarantee you my children are stunned by, sometimes people want pictures with me. And if you want a picture, just to remember this date, you can either remember he's the judge that did it to me, or he's the judge that did it to me. What your attitude is. We didn't emphasize too much. Mr. Garrison made reference to it, that in addition to the obligations of jury service and possible military service and the importance of voting and being involved in government, you do get to now pay taxes. I have always found that the benefits that our taxes bring back well exceed the sacrifice, but not everybody agrees with that. I want to also tell you about a few things that are going to be available to you right now. The League of Women Voters and the Daughters of the American Revolution are here to register you to vote. If you want to register to vote, this will be the easiest time you'll ever have. Also, if you see men dressed in revolutionary gear, they're the sons of the American Revolution, and they are here to celebrate your citizenship, just as someday after the Revolutionary War, our ancestors, some of them got to celebrate, those who were still there. The rest of us are immigrants too. But they like to have here, you can have pictures taken with them too, if you'd like to do that. The United States Postal Service is here. And so if you want a passport, you can get that process started right now. The Social Security Administration is here right now. And you can start learning about Social Security benefits. And I'm sure the congressmen and the representatives of the senators will tell you that you'll not get another opportunity to get voter registration, Social Security, and the postal all together in one room at one time. It will save you lots of time. So take advantage of it, okay? One additional thing. I do want to tell you, I wasn't kidding, my family came out here. We didn't have a lot of money, and this was one way we spent a lot of Sunday afternoons walking around the park. And there's a historical part of it, but it's also a beautiful park, and there's lots of nature in the park. Yeah. And then there's a lot of history, and this center's just been renovated. And they've got new modern things to look at. And so if you do have some time, don't rush off. And if you do have to rush off, come back and enjoy your this national park, which is paid in part by your tax dollars. So you might as well take advantage of it. I do think our national parks as a whole is one of the greatest investments our country has ever made. And we can thank President Teddy Roosevelt for that, I think, is who started those. Now, by the way, if you don't walk very well, you can drive through the park. There's a 5-mile trail through the park. Now, behind you on a hill, there is a cannon.
Never yours.
And as Congressman Long just said, if you don't like loud noises, I strongly suggest that you cover your ears. And if you have a baby or a young toddler, might be good to cover their ears too, because these are very loud. And we are now going to be adjourned, and as we're adjourned, and the cannon will fire at any time. We are adjourned.
It's actually